All right, hi artists. Here's a quick little art project that you guys can do on your own if you would like to add to your self-portrait. So if you wanted to do a little extra art or if you wanted to practice some extra skills, this is what I suggest we try. Now it's kind of in the same category as a self-portrait. It will be a piece of yourself. So you can see I drew a frame. So I just drew a large square or rectangle. And then inside, I drew a huge eyeball and eyebrow. And I tried to make sure all those details were in there. So things like the eyelid. Obviously, the iris is a little different, you might notice. And then we have the pupil, the black part of the eye. I got really detailed. I even put some sort of veins on the eyeball. And so the point of this project, or what I'm asking you guys to do, two things. We can practice drawing an eye. We can definitely practice layering color pencils or crayons to create our skin tones. And then, as you guys can see, inside of the eye, here's my challenge to you. You guys are going to draw a scene from your summer break. So what did you do over the summer? If you take a look at mine, I have my feet in the sand, and you guys can see this is supposed to be Lake Michigan, and there's the sky. So I went to the beach a lot with my daughter, so I thought this was a really great scene to put in the eye. Now, you do not need to copy mine. Now, if you went to the beach, fine, but I want you guys to have the image in the iris be unique to you. So what did you do over the summer? Did you play in the backyard a lot? Did you go to the pool? Did you go on bike rides, nature walks? Whatever. I want to see what you guys did, and I want you guys to show me the scene in the iris portion of the eye. We want to make sure this whole thing is colored. It's up to you on what you want to use. I use markers in the iris, and then I use colored pencil for my skin tones because it's easier for me to layer colors on top of each other using colored pencils. Crayons are another good idea for layering colors. Okay. So let me just show you how to get it set up, how to get it started. I'm going to turn my computer around so I can draw and have you guys see a little easier. Okay, so here's my example. Let's get a blank sheet of paper. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, if you guys can remember, I'm going to draw that frame. You guys can, of course, here's some general things you're going to need. A pencil, an eraser, maybe a Flair pen or a Sharpie would work. You guys, if you don't have a Flair pen or a Sharpie, you guys can use just a black color pencil to outline stuff, or a black pen would work too. Okay, so let's keep this fairly simple. Do a nice frame. Like so. And what we're going to do is we want to try to fill up this whole thing with eyeball. So depending on your eye, try to draw what you have. So maybe if you don't have much top eyelid exposed, then don't draw that. But if you do, you could throw some of this in here. A really thin line at the bottom for your lower eyelid. I'm also going to do a little bit of eyebrow. Maybe it goes off the page a little bit and comes back down. Okay, so here is the important part. We want to make sure our iris is nice and big, so you have the nice big section to draw your scene. And then in the middle is the black part of your eye. I'm not going to make that very big because I want to give myself plenty of room to draw my scene, my summer scene. I'm going to do a little small white part that I'm going to leave alone. Okay, so now is when you guys can use your marker or your black colored pencils or a Flair pen or a black pen, and we want to outline everything. It just makes it look a lot cleaner, more crisp, more professional. Take your time. This is actually probably a good time to fill in your pupil or the black part of your eye. solid black. I leave a little white part here so it looks like it's shiny because your eyeballs are typically, they have a shine to them. Okay, let's keep going with our outlining. Take your time. Remember, if you don't get it exactly on the pencil line, that's okay. You can go back and take your eraser, kind of clean it up again. Get your eyebrow. Actually, I like to outline the actual frame too. If you have a ruler, I would suggest using a ruler for a nice rectangle. I don't want to make this video so long you lose interest, so I'm just going to hand draw it like this. But you guys can see, if you used a ruler, it'd be a little nicer. If you want to have some eyelashes, go ahead. Remember, it's always good to take a look at your own eye in the mirror and figure out what you have. Draw what you see. Don't make it up. Okay, so from here, this is where it's up to you. You are the artist. You have to figure out what you're going to draw in here. You can draw a garden. Maybe you went to the Botanic Gardens. Maybe you went for bike rides. This is where you draw your scene. Draw your summer scene. Summer. And this is totally up to you. Now, the challenge here. We want to try to match our skin tone and try to have this look kind of accurate. Now remember, it is definitely like supposed to look interesting because your iris isn't going to have a summer scene in it. So yes, it's not going to be very realistic in that respect, but we still want it to look like an eyeball. We want it to look like us. I'm going to pluck some colors I think I could layer for my skin. All right. If you have crayons, that works too. So find some crayons. And I know that Crayola makes skin tones because we've used them in art class before. All right. It all depends. Some people, you want to make sure you're not just picking one color. You want to pick a couple of different colors. Just like in our book that we're going to be reading later this week, The Colors of Us, everybody is so unique, especially when it comes to skin tone. So please take a couple of different colors, layer them, see what looks accurate to you. All right, here's a good start. Sometimes you might even have some skin tones that have a little bit of yellow to them. So I would say if you have a lighter skin tone, you might want to mix in a little bit of yellow. That's why I pulled this color for myself. And I'll use some crayons. I'm going to go ahead and remember, guys, you can layer these colors on. I always like to start out with a really light layer somewhere in the middle. So I just found this, like, what is this called? Apricot color. Okay, that's for me. Yours might be a little different depending on your skin. So if you are a little bit more tan, you have darker skin, I would say find something a little bit more brown. But that doesn't mean just use that brown. It means use that brown plus probably 2, 3, 4 other colors on top. All right, and this is just a practice. This is a great little exercise for you guys to just practice mixing those skin tones, practice layering colors, practice drawing an eyeball, and then of course in the iris, it's wide open. It's up to you on what you want to draw. Just remember, you're limited to this section here. Okay, so I'm going pretty fast. As always, guys, please take your time. Please make it look beautiful. Share it with me. I want to see what you've done. I want to see your beautiful artwork. Okay, let's see. This might be a little too dark. I'm going to find something else. That's what I mean, guys. You go in there and you got to just mess around with the colors, layer it, see what looks good. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see how this is working. It's not just like that apricot color. Now I'm throwing something else on top. And everyone's skin kind of changes in the summertime too. Y'all might be a little bit darker, more tan because of the sun. So really, take a look, see what you have, try to match it. And again, if it's not perfect, that's okay. Don't freak out. Just like in the book-ish, you just keep going. You just keep drawing. Okay, I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to take a look at my eyebrows. What am I going to do with these eyebrows? I might end up going in there. My eyebrows are kind of dark. This brown color. I'm going to use colored pencil here, but you can use whatever you have. I might go in there with a little bit of crayon. Okay. Looking good. So now, and if you feel like being really detailed, like what I did, and I added the little veins in the eyeball, you don't have to. If you think that's kind of gross, that's fine. I just think it's so realistic, it's kind of cool. Okay, so that's when you go ahead and draw your beautiful summer scene. Tell me how you did your scene. Tell me what you're drawing. Share it with me on Seesaw. I love to see your work. And good luck.